Hi, if you are working with MSC Nastran, you will notice that a single analysis can generate many different files. In this video, let's quickly understand the most common Nastran file type and what each of them is used for. First, we have the BDF. This is the main input file containing all the finite element information created in a preprocessor such as Hypermesh or Patran. It can also be created or modified manually using a text editor. The BDF contains things like nodes, elements, materials, properties, loads, boundary conditions, and analysis control cards. Next, we have the F06. This is the main text output file generated by Nastran. It contains printed results such as displacements, element forces, stresses, eigenvalues, and other requested outputs. The F06 file is also extremely useful for debugging. If your analysis fails or if Nastran encounters an error or convergence problem, the F06 file is one of the first places you should check. The F04 contains information about the execution history of the Nastran run. It can show things such as modules used during the analysis, file and disk space information, and timing information. It is particularly useful when debugging a Nastran run due to memory issues. You can also use it to check how much time was spent during the analysis. Next, we have the log file. This contains information about the Nastran execution, including command line options and execution links. It gives you a brief overview of how the Nastran job was executed. Now let's talk about the DBL file. The DBL is essentially a Nastran database containing information generated during the analysis. Depending on the solution sequence and analysis, it can contain input information, assembled matrices, and solution data. One important use of the DBL is for restart analysis. It can allow you to continue an analysis without starting everything from the beginning. Next is the master file. This file contains information about the master directory and the files used during the Nastran run, including their physical locations on the system. The master file is also important when performing a restart analysis. Next, we have the PLT file. The PLT file contains plot information generated from Nastran plotter commands specified in the input file. However, this file is not commonly used in modern workflows because post-processors such as Hyperview and Patran provide much more advanced visualization capabilities. Next is the PCH file or punch file. The PCH contains punch output requested through the Nastran input file. It can be useful when you want to output specific results separately from the main F06 file. For example, you can request particular result quantities and write them into the PCH file for further processing. And probably one of the most important files for modern FEA workflows is the OP2 is a binary results database used by post-processors such as Patran and Hyperview. It can contain results such as displacements, stresses, strains, element forces, and other analysis results depending on what you requested in the Nastran input deck. This is the file that you will commonly load into your post-processor to visualize and animate your results. Finally, we have the STS file. This file contains nonlinear statistics when certain nonlinear or linear contact analyses are used. Apart from these files, Nastran can also generate various scratch files during the analysis. These are temporary files used internally by Nastran for storing intermediate data during the solution process. The exact files generated can depend on the solution sequence, analysis settings, Nastran version, and the options used to run the job. So, understanding these files is important because when a Nastran analysis fails, you should not just look at the error message. Knowing which file contains which information can make debugging your model much faster. And that's it for this video.